Lewis Moore with Oklahoma Insurance Watch, and welcome to our program, our podcast. And this is Lewis Moore. I'm a former 12-year state representative from Edmond, Oklahoma, House District 96, and have been licensed in insurance for 35 years. I was for a long time the insurance committee chair in the state house and on various different committees, and have done multiple interim studies having to do with different insurance topics and concerns. And I have a great guest today, Justin Reynolds of Reynolds Roofing, and he's been in the roofing business for more than 10 years in the Oklahoma City metro area. Hey, if you can call me at, if you have any questions or concerns and you want to talk after the show, 405-245-1217 is my number. But now I'm acting as an insurance agent and an insurance consultant, risk manager. I do some risk control, especially for roofs on hospitals and bigger projects. Also, I'm an insurance appraiser. If you have concerns with what the carrier adjuster is telling you, and then also an insurance umpire as well. And we also want to say that we um, have heavy hearts about Charlie Kirk. We know he's in a better place, but our thoughts and prayers are definitely with his family, and we appreciated everything that Charlie did and all the great stuff that's going to happen because of his time on this earth and what he was doing. So thank you, Charlie. One of the things today that I wanted to give you as a tip was OID is the Oklahoma Insurance Department. If you happen to have a claim that you're not happy with how the carrier is doing, or maybe the agent is doing, you can call for help at 405-521-2828, and they'll say, hey, do you want to file a complaint, insurance complaint? And you're not getting anybody necessarily in trouble. What you're doing is bringing attention to the trouble that you're having, and it's the conduit for the insurance department to help you. What they'll do is they'll send a note to the carrier or the person that you need help with, and they'll give them 20 days to get a response back to them and to you. So that's a way of taking action. So I usually tell my clients or customers, consumers, that don't let the claim go on and on and on, and say, where you're saying a year from now, man, I got messed over on this claim, or I never got what I needed. Don't let the claim even get to 30 days old before you take action. And you can also call your state representative or state senator, and they will help you as well. But this is the way to go direct to the person or persons that can help you, okay? And that's the Oklahoma Insurance Department. All right. So the other thing that I've learned here recently is, a lot of people have apps. Well, your insurance carrier that you have, and I've been talking mostly today, we're going to talk about mostly about homeowners and auto insurance. Well, those companies typically will have an app that you can go to the App Store and get. Just look up their name and download it. And if you're with that carrier, it should come preloaded with your policies and your, especially if it may ask you for your policy number. You do that and it will download your policies, your proof of insurance, and a way for you to touch and be able to get a claim processed right away, and a way for you to be able to take pictures of the items affected so that you can process that claim more quickly. So check that out on your homeowners and your auto insurance. And now typically not everybody has the same carrier for home and auto, and it's not the same carriers a lot of times because you felt like you got a good deal for the autos and then you got a good deal for the home on separate occasions. Most companies have bundling discounts of as much as 25%. 25% will typically, when applied to both of those areas, home and auto, will um, make up for one being less than the other. Okay. Um, Now, insurance on your home and auto, if you haven't noticed it lately, if you haven't had a renewal yet, it's crazy how homes and auto insurance have gone up in cost. A lot of that has been because of just one weather element, and that's hail. So if you have hail damaged cars or homes, and it can be roofs or metal buildings or guttering and outbuildings and that kind of thing. And but enough of us have had hail damage and have had claims paid to drive that cost up. It's kind of like the area of the country that's south of I-10, and that's all of the Gulf states and kind of southeast Atlantic and those kind of states, mid Atlantic states. They pay a ton of money. It's getting to be where people are having to leave there because they can't afford the insurance. Between the insurance costs and the property taxes, it's almost untenable as you get to retirement in being able to stay in the home that you've had and may have wanted to retire in. So look for help in that. And I gave you my phone number. You're more than welcome to call me, and I can help you on that with information and quotes. All right. So um, inflation, the cost of labor, and Justin Reynolds will be able to address some of that as well. But inflation, the cost of labor and materials and that kind of thing, transportation, that those kinds of things definitely lead to a higher cost of getting things done, which leads to higher insurance prices. If you have a garage, use it. If you if you're filling your garage up like a storage unit, try to clean it out so you can get your cars in there. And there's two good reasons for that. Because you're protecting it from hail damage and weather, wind and that kind of thing, but also from even in the nicest neighborhoods in the Oklahoma City metro area, kids will have friends over and they'll walk around, or people walk around the neighborhoods and they are trying people's doors and that kind of thing. Just for personal protection of your vehicle, that having a camera is one thing, but actually really protecting it, it needs to be in a garage. Okay. All right. Whew, that's not very good. All right. So that's kind of the ugly stuff. There's some details when you want to get a quote for your home that may take a little bit of time to gather and process. You want to get the policy that you have right now out, and you want to look at the deck, what they call the deck pages or declaration pages, and those are about 3 pages in length, and they're usually within the first 4 or 5 pages of the policy. They have the name, phone number, policy number, price, and important details like deductibles and what's covered, what's not covered on the policy. Those are the crucial things. Okay. So you want to trust an agent to help you with that quote in the process. Okay. Um, the valuation of the home. When you get a quote, or you want to get a quote, or you want to be insured, you're basing that on the valuation of your home. Well, you know how much you paid for your home, but it doesn't take very many more years before, if that's all you got to replace your home, you would not get very much home in return. So inflation, uh, the cost of materials and labor and that kind of thing go up. Appreciation, there's capital gains for your home. If you're in a nice neighborhood, or a nice neighborhood is one where um, your neighbors take care of their stuff, you take care of your stuff, and you help each other out. You look out for each other. If you're in a neighborhood with a, a good school district, and you can find out how your schools are doing by going on Zillow or Homes.com or Redfin, and keep scrolling down until you see great schools, and it'll give you the grades for the schools that are in and around your home. And that is a huge factor in why people move to where they move. Okay. So that's going to be an important thing. If you go to the county assessor website in any county in the state, they will tell you what your current valuation is of your home. Now, are they professional real estate people? Not necessarily. But are they wanting to, only reason, what are they assessing your home for? Right? They're assessing it to get property taxes. So is it a roller coaster ride every other year they raise it or lower it? No, it's typically being raised a percentage per year. It may be 3%, 5%. I think we had a constitutional vote years ago that stopped the the assessment from going above 5%. So typically it's going to be 3 to 5% per year. All right, so Zillow, Homes.com, Redfin, others, they offer a spread on what your home value is right now. And then and we can ask Justin this too. Justin, you there?
Yes, sir.
All right. So if somebody has a valuation, what can you tell them a number is, a factor? Is it 20%? What can you say that in any one year, the greatest sway might be in materials, inflation, labor, that kind of thing, and what they should be insured for?
The greatest, we're talking about basically an increase in materials on my side year to year.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's been a lot since COVID. It's been more than ever since COVID. Gosh, I would say 3 to 5%. 5% might
So
be high, might be three, might be
so
three.
when let's just say we're Wichita, and Wichita just got hammered by big hail. And there's a lot of people that need stuff done at the same time. Does that raise the prices of labor and materials installation?
It does. Absolutely. It's supply and demand. The demand is high, then you can do that. Then you can raise the price a little bit. And these manufacturers and suppliers, they know that.
Well, also, we want to make sure that you, as the contractor, is getting a fair, profit off that, so you can stay in business. I mean, it's a big deal.
Right, right. It's not, the insurance companies are not always super concerned about that.
But that, I mean, do they raise rates so they can stay in business? Yes. So,
It's an
I mean,
excellent point.
yes. So most of the time, where I'm at, we use 20%. So between the first of the year to the end of that insurance year, we want to make sure that we do a rough analysis of it, and we typically, whatever we come up with, we multiply that by 1.20, so 20%, to come up with a comfortable pad to be able to provide the same home as what they had. And so, does that mean they're going to use the whole amount? No, but we want to make sure that if necessary, we have the money.
So I'm just trying to follow you here. Did you say that the insurance company uh, tries to adjust their numbers in a way to where they think the contractor is around a 20% profit margin? Was that what you were saying?
No, I I know where I think we try as as appraisers and stuff. We're going to try to do 14%, 15%, but
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
I don't think I don't think insurance companies. I don't think that's ever come up. Uh,
Okay. Okay.
but you know what? That
They
would
want it to be
be
zero.
yeah, yeah. But that would be an interesting interim study to do.
Yeah,
Is try to find out about what that number should be. That would be interesting.
agreed.
Okay. So also, when we're building in a certain area, um, how do we know? There's really nice homes that are 5% of the market. Then there's about 45% of the homes or 35% that are custom homes. So when you see somebody building a custom home, do you have any idea what they're factoring in as square price per square foot for that house? So we use 180 to 230, about a $50 swing per square foot. And then if it's a standard home, which is another chunk, so the majority of the homes that we're talking about are either standard or they are custom homes. And so we're looking at 160 to $179 for those homes being built. So that means if they're being built, then that's what we want to cover them for insurance to replace them if something happens. So does that jive in what, I'm not asking you as a home builder, but you're the top of the home, what you're hearing out there and seeing?
Gosh, I'm not sure. I'll be honest.
So,
I'm not
so
sure.
what I've been telling people is find out from the builder of your home or the uh, people that do build, call them, check out their website, find out about what they're charging so that you have a good idea, because I wouldn't necessarily trust the county assessor's website to
Right.
come up with the best um, the best price for my house. I want to know, so you can get two or three different pictures of that. That's not a bad thing, because that valuation is going to be one of the main factors in pricing the homeowner's insurance policy. Um, so you can confirm by, you can drive around town, you can see that homes are being built and how much are they charging for those homes, and go and do a tour of them or look them up online. You can see what they're charging or what they're selling them for. That's fairly easy to do. Um, then another thing I was going to bring up was zip codes. So you have a zip code that you live at. And what does that mean? The zip code that you're choosing to live at, you chose that place usually for location, location, close to shops and stores and schools and all that kind of thing. But when an insurance carrier is looking at what they're going to charge you, they also look at the crime occurring in that neighborhood. And in Tulsa, one time when I was living there, there was two teenagers, young kids, that were stealing cars. Well, those two kids drove the automobile insurance rates sky high. They stole so many cars and wrecked them or stole them. And so when they stopped them, the prices went back down, but it still affected, the market for a while. Then there's an I so pricing includes in those zip codes the pricing of the homes, the quality, the schools, the parks, the traffic, the roads, and closeness to shops and ease to get around and all those type of things. Um, then there's something called an IS score, and that's an insurance score. It's very much like the insurance world's version of the credit score. So that's payment history. Are you paying in full? Are you paying by escrow? And paying by escrow gives you a better discount, 2 to 3%. There's defensive driving courses that you can take, and have you taken those? Because those can give you a discount of 2 to 3% and take off 2 points off um, your driver score. So if you have a bad score because you've got a couple points on your driver's license because of tickets or whatever, you can get 2 of those points taken off, which not a bad thing. Um, then paying by escrow is the best rate discount, and then because they can get the money 30 days early prior to the renewal. In the month of the renewal, they can go to the first day of that month and get the money, which means that they can use the money and invest it for a little bit longer. So that's one reason they turn around and give you a discount for that. Monthly is not as good. Late or inconsistent obviously is not as good. Claim history. So if you have too many claims in a year or up to multiple in a 3-year period, once 3 years has passed by, anything 3 years or older claim wise fall off in the property and casualty world. So, but you can get non-renewed or even canceled for multiple claims. And then if you, like we were talking about Wichita and Oklahoma City when we had those big hailstorms, when you are affected by a claim that multiple other people in your neighborhood or your city or area are being affected by, jump in and get it done because they don't treat you as harshly in that situation as they would if you're the Lone Ranger claim. That's when they're going to be able to get the spotlight on you. You don't want the spotlight on you on that. But when you see a bunch of fencing material and trees and stuff lining up the sides of the streets, and you've been gone for a couple of weeks on vacation, you may want to make sure you're in the game. Wildfires, hail, big hail, tornadoes, high winds, events that multiple people in weather news can easily track. That's you. If you're affected, don't blow it off. Make sure you're in there. And wildfires can occur any time of the year, and actually now even some tornadoes can happen any time of year. But you kind of want to look out from your house and see what direction things are from the south, southwest. Southwest is where most of the tornadoes come from. So if there's in high winds, and so with wildfires, and so if there's a bunch of cedar trees on your neighbor's property that are within 100 yards or so of your house, and they're to the south or west or southwest of you, you might want to talk to them about getting those things cut or trimmed or something, because those things, those embers from those trees, when they blow up, are going to carry a quarter to half a mile and negatively probably affect you. Um, then if you have vegetation growing around your house that reach 8 feet or close to your eave underneath your roof and they catch fire, that's going to send fire up into your vents and into your attic. And that's not going to be good, because um, if your roof is penetrated by flame, that means that the house is going to be basically destroyed. I mean, so if you see a flame, you see pictures of a house on fire and the house is coming through the roof, that means a lot of damage, smoke damage and that kind of thing. Flame damage has happened underneath it. And if the fire station does come, and if they don't come within 15 minutes, you're probably in trouble anyway. And if But if they come and they dump hundreds or 1,000 gallons of water on your roof, that's not going to be good for the roof or anything beneath it. Now you got to deal with a bunch of water damage, and that's not going to be good. So basically, you have a fire like that, your home's basically destroyed and all the stuff in it. So that's not good. But the other thing to that is if you live 5 miles or more away from the fire station, you're going to be a class 10, a fire protection class 10. What does that mean? One is the best, 10 is the worst. So where we live, we're class 10. There's a bunch of people out here, we're all class 10. What does that mean? That means we're having to pay double the homeowner's cost that somebody who's in a class 1 area has to pay. Well, obviously that's not very good. So what can you do? You can ask the city council, your city council person, the city to build a fire station closer to where you are, and also fire hydrants. So if you're within, okay, I appreciate Justin. You appreciate you being here. Would you can you tell us um, what your, what you, your area of expertise is in the roofing world?
Well, I would say just asphalt shingles are our bread and butter. That's what we mostly do. Residential asphalt shingles. Yes, sir. We do flat roofs and metal, of course, but asphalt shingles is the majority of our work.
And what are people most often buying as far as shingles?
I would say GAF is probably the most popular. GAF is
And
popular.
is that class 2, 3, 4?
GAF, I think recently GAF, their HDZ, their mid-grade shingle, recently became a class 3. And everybody, all these big manufacturers have started doing that lately. And so GAF, they were kind of late to catch on, really. But yeah, that's probably the most popular.
What would you say the difference is between the going from a 2 to 3 in thickness and in density? What
Right. Yeah, right. You nailed it. You nailed it. And then of course, what comes along with I guess you would say, kind of the warranty, which gets you the discount on your insurance, but that's it. It's made to withstand bigger hail. It's more impact resistant.
you, it's promoted as impact resistant,
Yes, sir.
right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
And what's the warranty typically on something like that?
Well,
What can a homeowner expect?
all these guys advertise lifetime warranties.
Mm-hmm.
All the big manufacturers advertise lifetime warranties. So it's, you know, in the real world, we know that they don't last that long, but that's the sales pitch. And frankly, with the amount of storms that we get here, in our part of the country, they don't have to make it a lifetime anyways before a storm hits it and beats it up.
Uh, so is that transferable?
Yes, sir, it is. I think
Okay.
it depends on, I think it
So
depends on the contractor, but for us it is.
that's what I was, that's what I was thinking. So
Mhm.
they may say it's transferable and that it has a lifetime warranty, but that means somebody's got to be around for the lifetime of the roof and in business and still doing roofing. So if the roof has a lifetime warranty and in 10 years it gets damaged and needs to be replaced, how hard is it to get to reach the roofer and get the thing replaced. And have you ever seen or heard that happen?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Good.
In the roofing business, there's a lot of small contractors fly by night, and so, there's, advantages and disadvantages to big guys and to small guys. And, that's one of the disadvantages to the small guys is, are they going to be there in 15 years when, if you have a warranty issue? No doubt about it.
So we have a lot of people that come in from out of state. So I would think that you would want somebody that's in your same area to do it so that you can find them and trust them and have a relationship so that you can trust that they're going to live up to the warranty.
Right, right. And if you have a repair that needs to be made a year later, you don't want your guy to have to drive from Dallas to do it, you know. So yeah.
So that brings up a good point. What kind of repairs are kind of normal that you see that need to be done to a roof?
Gosh, I would say the most common repairs that I run into after a new roof install are, I would say anytime there's a roof to wall, anywhere that you have to put flashing, any opening, maybe pipe
Hmm.
jacks occasionally. But I would say where you have a slope that meets a a different level of slope where the roof meets the wall. Those, you gotta pay close attention to those.
So they can not fit or change to fit because of maybe earth movement or heat or wind that could get and where water could get in between it.
I'll tell you what, the earth movement, that's actually a good point. I've ran into several repairs this year where we install a new roof and the customer calls, says, "Hey Justin, I have a leak over here by my chimney," and I go and I take a look at it, and it's from the foundation shifting and it separates the flashing from the brick. And it's we've seen a lot of those this year. I think maybe it's from heavy rain. Uh is a part of that.
That's a s- that's a good point. A lot of people, they're not going to necessarily know that there's a problem until there actually is a problem, and that's not really good to have a leak be the first flag that raises up. Um, do you, do roofers ever do uh, inspections of their work or voluntarily, not voluntarily, but for a charge, go and check out their customers' roofs or people's roofs to see how they're doing so they can, it's like risk control for an insurance company. They typically want to check out the big flat roofs and everything before they insure them for the next year to make sure that they're not buying a claim. And if I'm not saying that that's what they're trying to do for private homes, but as a private homeowner, you would think that you would want to make sure your stuff's still going to work like it should. Is that
Absolutely.
something you can do?
Absolutely. I think it's a worthwhile investment if you're buying a new home, I think it's a worthwhile investment to have the roof inspected. Sure do.
They're typically going to do that, but you don't typically want feet on the roof necessarily, but drones and getting up as high as the ladder will get you and that kind of thing. But do more feet on the roof hurt the roof, or does that you really need to do that to really get up close and personal with what you're trying to inspect?
No, that's an excellent point. There is no doubt about it that foot traffic on a roof is not good for your shingles. Now,
Mhm.
when you install a new roof, I mean, there's no way around it, right? I mean, there's a there's a mode of operation, to where you can minimize it, but the less foot traffic on your asphalt shingles, the better. There's no doubt about it. Now, there's some inspections with just the way the roof is cut up that a drone is, a drone won't give you a level of detail that you always need. But it kind of just depends on how far you want to take it. If I mean, if you're buying a big expensive home, it might be worth it for you. You know.
To have somebody physically get up there and check things out.
Yes, sir. And when we do that, I always recommend early morning inspections. Those shingles, the the hotter they get, the more malleable that rubber is, the easier it is to damage. And so if that's the way you're going to go, I recommend a early morning inspection when it's nice and cool.
Okay, that's good. I'm gonna write that down, Justin. That's a good point. Early morning better. Um, early morning cooler temps. Cooler. Okay. Um, okay. So, um, do you have a weight limit on your guys? Because I mean, you got a big old 300-pounder on your roof. I mean, is that gonna make any difference, or a 150-pounder? I'm
You
teasing.
know,
I'm teasing you.
you know,
That's obvious.
our
So, is
guys,
there?
our guys do so much manual labor, they couldn't be fat if they wanted to.
Well, and it does get hot up there. Hey, also, is there different kind of footwear that you wear for traction, and also like Hokas or basketball shoes? Is that easier on the roof, or rather than heavy boots?
You know, in an attempt to in an attempt to in an attempt to take care of the roof, you're always better off as a roof installer, you're always better off with a soft soled shoe. And typically boots that have a nice soft sole at the bottom, number one, the traction is better. It's more safe for our guys.
Hmm.
Number two, causes far less damage than a hard plastic soled shoe.
So that's good. That's good information. Also, between a hip and a gable roof, are there more concerns with quality construction on a hip versus the simpler gable roof?
Anytime you have to cut these shingles, there's, it's just anytime the more cuts in a roof, the more potential issues you have. All your cuts have to be clean, they have to fit together, it has to be flush. And these shingles they have to be put together in a way that has to be tight enough, obviously, to where water's not going to get through it. But if you put it too tight, then it buckles on you. Right. So, you have to find that fine line there and do it that way.
Hey, so a lot of municipalities have changed, have had building codes changed where they wanted, especially they didn't want shake shingles anymore because they had little slats between them, and that wasn't necessarily as good. But they wanted OSB. And what does OSB stand for?
Oriented strand board.
And so that can be 5.5 inch to an inch thick on the roofs, or what do you typically see?
Whether it's the 1x8s, the old plank style decking, or the 4x8 sheets of OSB that we use, they're all 1/2 inch.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
very
They're
good.
all half
So
inch.
that keeps the weight down a little bit, but provides really good protection. And then you guys put a felt down.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. When we're a typical redeck and I don't know if the people watching or you know this, but the reason that they went with the 4x8 sheets as opposed to the 1x8 or 1x6 plank decking is because there's far less gaps, right? And so when you're up there on the roof and you have your nail gun and you're installing these nails into the plank decking or the 1x6, obviously you have a gap every 6 inches, board on board.
Mm-hmm.
And so these guys with their nail guns, when you have a nail gun, you can't feel if it hits a gap, right? So when you have a million 1x6s stacked by each other, you have far more gaps than if you have a 4x8 sheet
Sure.
throughout, right?
Yeah.
So that's why we do the 4x8s. And basically you got the half-inch thick 1x8. We take the oriented strand board, put it on top, fasten those two together, and then the felt, of course, and in the valleys, extra protection with things like ice and water, and on and on. And that's about it. It's not too much to it, really.
So the felt goes on a lot better on the OSB, the 4x8s than not.
Yeah, the 4x8 sheets of OSB make everything better for everybody from the customer to the installer.
And are the OSB sheets, are they typically treated with any chemical for waterproofing or anything of that nature?
It's a good question. You got me on that one, huh?
Well, they shouldn't typically be getting water to where they need to be treated because they got the shingles on there.
Yeah, I don't think it's treated, but it's just, the way they make it's just in the name, oriented
Mm.
strand board. It's that particle board. They crush it down,
Yeah,
and they put more particles on it, crush it down, and they keep going till you got a half inch of it. And so I don't know. I'll look into that. If we talk again, I'll have that one for
sure. Well, we will. Then,
you.
is there a material that you can put on the underneath part to help with the reflection of the heat? Is there anything else that you can add as a roofer to the project to make it even more efficient for the homeowner?
Right. Yes, sir. No, actually, we've used it. It's called, God, what's it called? Tech Shield. Tech Shield is what it's called. It basically has it's kind of a it's kind of a layer of aluminum foil on
Yeah.
one, yeah, on one side of that OSB. And it's really good for keeping that UV rays out. It's really
So
good.
it's not on the outside where the shingles don't go on top of it. It's on the inside that's facing the attic.
Right.
And is the Tech Shield, is that produced with it already on there? So you buy the OSB with that's called Tech Shield because it's already on the.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir. It comes with that layer of in essence,
What's that add a cost? Is that $2 a sheet more, or do you know what it costs?
You know, it's quite a bit more. It's probably closer to half the cost of, or it's one and a half. It's probably closer to 1.5 times the cost.
Okay, so 50% more,
Yes.
but in savings on the electricity or natural gas or both, depending on if it's winter. I guess does it do what it's supposed to do? Is it summer only that it really makes a difference in reducing the heat coming in, or does it help in the wintertime make the house warmer in the wintertime and cooler in the summer?
I think it does both.
Okay.
Both.
So the way the prices of utilities are going up, that could pay for itself in a relatively short period of time.
Absolutely. I think it's worthwhile.
Okay, good. So all that is math. We
Yes,
check
sir.
it out. Okay,
Mhm.
very good. Um, that's, do you want to tell people, Justin, uh, what areas of the metro that you can help them with the roofing?
Absolutely. We go all over the state of Oklahoma. Yes, sir. We'll go anywhere. We'll go anywhere.
Very good. Um, how has your experience with adjusters been from the carriers and working on claim projects?
Well, I'll tell you what, how much time do we have? That's a lot. That's a joke. That's a joke.
Yikes.
Yeah, yeah. No, I got a couple quick examples that I'd love to share with you.
Sure.
We had one earlier this year where the customer called and said, hey, Justin, I filed a claim already. The insurance adjuster came out. They paid me a little less than 10,000. They paid for a repair. And can you come take a look at it? The adjuster's already come out. They've already paid me around 10,000, but can you come double check it? Absolutely. We went out there, took a look, and there was far more damage than that, right? Which it's typical, happens all the time. It's common, right? So this house was maybe a 5 or 6 thousand square foot roof, and they had some metal structures in the back also. And so, anyways, we took a look, damage on everything. Advised the customer of that, and so they filed for a reinspection. New adjuster came back out the second time, and the second adjuster agreed with me. And long story short, they wrote a check for $90,000 without any argument. Yeah,
Wow.
it's quite the swing. It's it's probably worth getting. It's worth getting an opinion. It's your home. It's a big investment, and to be honest, I think who knows the reason why, but you're better off if you have a roofer at your adjuster appointment to go over this damage with them together, as opposed to them doing it by themselves. You know, that's that's my opinion on it. It's my opinion.
So you were saying the adjuster and the roofer getting together
Yes,
to
sir.
eliminate confusion and miscommunication.
Absolutely.
Okay. And would you want the homeowner, they need to have their policy out, obviously, so they can, because the adjuster hopefully has their policy. So they have the terms and everything, whether it's actual cash value and what the limits are and everything and the deductibles, so they can be accurate in what they're telling them. Okay, that's good. And so how often do you run across an adjuster where you we have to advise the homeowner to use an appraiser to help them?
It seems to become more common each year. Uh, Gosh, you know, a lot of it depends just on a lot of it depends on the customer. A lot of people they don't care to. A lot of people don't want to wait that long. They're not interested in paying the fee, which is it's not too terribly much, but some people it's not an option for them to pay an extra $1,500 for an appraisal. But I'll tell you what, I would say we have an excellent case to be made on 1 out of 5, maybe more. You know,
That 1 out of 5, about 20% or so need to have a little oomph brought to the table. And
right.
they're going to know, the homeowner's going to know, because the adjuster's not, um, and they know how much that roof is. The roofer gave them an estimate, and if the adjuster's giving them, wanting to give them a check for half of that, or a check for half of that, or 80% of that, that's usually, that's not what they expected, and that's not what they're wanting to have to live with. Huh,
Absolutely.
okay.
Yeah.
That's good information. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Hey, how many people do you have on your crew to handle stuff around the state?
Oh, we have about 5 crews, 7 or 8 guys each. Yes, sir.
Oh, 5 crews. So that's a crew. A crew can handle a house. Is that basically what you're saying?
Yes, sir. A crew typically will, a 7 or 8 man crew typically will run a 2,000 to 2,500 square foot house, the roof on a 25 and in a day. Typically.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Hey, thank you very much. And we look forward uh, to having you on again. And this was really good information. I appreciate it. I learned a lot. I appreciate you, Justin.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. You take care.